Please be aware that the comments, views, opinions shared on this podcast are not meant to diagnose a medical problem and/or legal problem. If you do have a medical problem or legal problem, kindly contact a professional.
Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy, healthy life with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. How you doing today, my friends? You feeling good? Feeling strong? I'm glad. Hey, I want to remind you before we start, An Apple a Day is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. Famousapple.com is the home site for this podcast, and there you're going to find access to our free message board, our free chat rooms. You're going to find articles about the topics we discuss here. You're also going to find access to our Facebook pages and how to hook up with us on Twitter. And if you like TV and you like movies, we have an advertiser on there at the very bottom of the page. You have to scroll to the very bottom, and you can click on that advertiser and get a ton, and I mean a ton, of free movies and free TV shows. That's right, free, no money. You don't have to buy a console, you don't have to buy a plug-in, you don't have to buy anything. You just have to register on the site, and you get free TV, free movies. No strings attached. Of course, they also have modern movies up there, up to date, the latest movies, and then you can rent, for as little as 99 cents. It's a great deal, but there's a ton of free movies, free, F-R-E-E. So check them out. So go over to www.famousapple.com, check them out, free. You can't beat free. Hey, I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone's feeling better than they did yesterday. We're going to start today off with a repeat of last week's Social Security update, okay? I think this is very important. This was last week's Social Security update. It says, each year we announce the annual cost of living adjustment, or otherwise known as COLA. Usually there is an increase in the Social Security and Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, benefit amount people receive each month, starting the following January. By law, federal benefits increase when the cost of living rises, as measured by the Department of Labor's Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, CPI-W. The CPI-W rises when prices increase for things that the average consumer buys. This means that when prices for goods and services we purchase become more expensive on average, the COLA increases monthly benefit levels and helps you keep up with the changing cost of living. As a result, more than 67 million Americans will see a 2.8% increase in their Social Security and SSI benefits in 2019. That's right, a 2.8% increase for 2019. And you heard it here first. This isn't even put out yet for the newspapers. January 2019 marks other changes that will happen based on the increase in the National Average Wage Index. For example, the maximum amount of earnings subject to Social Security payroll tax, as well as the retirement earnings test exempt amount, will change in 2019. Want to know your new benefit amount as soon as possible? In December 2018, we will post the Social Security COLA notices online for retirement, survivors, and disability beneficiaries who have a My Social Security. This year, you will receive your COLA notice by mail. In the future, you'll be able to choose whether you receive your notice online instead of on paper. Online notices will not be available to representative payees. So there you have it. You're getting a 2.8% increase in 2019. That's phenomenal. Now, we have another Social Security update that we'll give you later on in the podcast. right now I'd like to discuss something that came up over the weekend. I was visiting with some very dear friends. I don't get to visit with them as often as I'd like. And we were sitting down talking, and this one person, I'm not going to mention names, but she's got a new boyfriend. She hasn't dated in quite a while, and she went on this dating website, and she met a person, and they talked on the website for almost a month. And it's like one of those new relationships where you're talking on the phone every day and hours at a time. Like you get on the phone at 7 o'clock at night, and you're on the phone till the wee hours of the morning, and everything seems perfect. Everything seems perfect. And you have so much in common, and you laugh until you can't laugh anymore, and you're hanging on every word that the other person says, and they're hanging on every word that you say, and when it comes time, you really don't want to hang up. Oh, it's great. It's great. And finally, the time comes, and you're going to meet this person, and already in your mind, you have it in your mind that I don't want to say you're in love with this person, but you're in deep like with this person. All right. And you finally get a date together, and you're going to go out and meet someplace in public, and you go to this restaurant or a bar or what have you, and you're in there and you're waiting, and you're looking around. The person tells you, well, I'm going to be wearing a brown jacket and black pants, say, whatever. And there you see there's a person wearing a brown jacket and black pants. But suddenly you notice that person is also sitting in a wheelchair. And what do you do? What do you do? This person, this friend of mine, this is what happened to her. And she said that she was taken back by it. And, she stayed. She wasn't rude or anything. She stayed. But everything changed. And I asked her, I said, why did everything change? And she said, it just did. It just changed. It's he didn't tell her that he was in a wheelchair. I said, okay, did you tell him that, you're 5'10"? Did you tell him that you have short hair? Did you tell him that you wear glasses? Did you tell him that you're hard of hearing in your right ear? For the person in the wheelchair, if they've gotten comfortable with themselves, these are things that they don't really, I don't know, they don't really see as special anymore. And should they tell them? I guess. I mean, me personally, I'm in a wheelchair. I guess if I was still dating or something, I'd probably tell him, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair. But does it make a difference? I mean, you spoke to this person for a month. You laughed until you couldn't laugh anymore for a month with this person. You had a good time. You look forward to calling this person, or you look forward to him calling you, and you sat by the phone waiting. And now things have changed because they're in a wheelchair. Isn't he the same person you were laughing with? Isn't he the same person you were dying to meet? Didn't you see pictures of each other? And then you tell me, well, he didn't send me a picture of the wheelchair. Well, why would he? Did you send them a picture of your feet? I said to her, I said, you knew me before I was in a wheelchair. Do you think any less of me now? And of course, no. Then why would you think any less of him? And she said to me, she says, I don't really. She says, but, what are people going to think if we go somewhere? I was like, well, what are they going to think? Well, what is there to think? And she said to me, she says, they're going to think that I'm desperate. And wow, that really sent a shock through me. They're going to think that you're desperate. Why? Are you picking him up and throwing him over your shoulder and dragging him out? I'm pretty sure if he's going out, and he got out to the restaurant on his own volition, he's pretty capable of getting around. Are you worried about you can't go dancing? I mean, you're not exactly a dancer. Are you worried about you can't go up to the top of the Statue of Liberty? I don't know if you've ever been there or not. I mean, there's really no reason to feel funny. And why would you feel like you're desperate? Or why would you think other people would feel like you're desperate? Other than the fact that you're embarrassed that he's in a wheelchair. And, that makes it bad for him if you're feeling that way. And if you're feeling that way, I'm going to tell you this right now. And this is what I told her. I said, break it off right now. Don't embarrass him. Don't embarrass him out in public. Don't look the other way, or don't try to make excuses for him. He's out there. He's enjoying your company. He's still the same person that you spoke to over the phone. And don't make excuses in public for him. He's doing the best he can. He's getting over it. You have to get over it too. I was so blown away. It just sent, like I said, it sent a shockwave through me, because then I started thinking, well, what does my wife think when we go out? Does my wife feel the same way? And then I was kind of self-conscious around her the rest of the evening. But of course, it didn't end there. You know, after she left, there was the obligatory talk behind a person's back whenever there's a house party. So she left, and there was some relatives at the house, and one of them said, well, you know, I'm happy for her. I said, I told them, I said, I was very happy for her. I'm glad she found somebody, and, you know, I hope she can look past the wheelchair. And this other person that was there said, well, I hope she's just not settling. I was like, well, what does that mean? Come on, going out with someone in a wheelchair? And I'm looking at her, and what am I, flipping wood? I'm sitting right here. You can tell by the silver arms behind me. I'm in the sitting position all night, you know? And I said, well, what are you saying? And she goes, well, you're different. How am I different? How am I different? You know, if you feel that way about this person, you must feel the same way about me, because this is your niece. Is she just settling being with me? Is she wasting her life being with me? No, I didn't say it, and don't take it that way. You always take things the wrong way. Well, what way is there to take it? That's like saying, well, you know, you're fat. Well, is there any other way to take that other than to say, well, you're fat? You know, you're telling me you're hoping that she's not wasting her life because of the guy she's interested in is in a wheelchair, and I'm sitting here and I'm in a wheelchair. So how am I supposed to take that? You know, this is the thing that scares me, I guess, with other people, this idea that they have about people that are disabled. And it's not just people with the wheelchair. You get people, they look at people that have had strokes and their mouth droops, and they look at them and they're like, oh, that poor soul. But that poor soul is still the same person inside. That's just a physical deformity. I have something else I want to tell you about a young lady I know that was burnt. But she had, her face got burnt in an automobile accident. Still the same person. Still the same person. But people look at it and they're like, oh, how can you date someone like that? How can you have a relationship with someone like that? That's like the people, and I've told you this, I lost a ton of friends. I lost a lot of friends when I became disabled. You know, they didn't want to be around me, especially when I had my leg amputated. That was it. I was left with a handful of friends, and I'm very happy with the handful of friends that I had. And I'm very happy with the friends that I've made through the podcast and through the website. I'm very happy with them. But the ones that I considered friends before that, they just dispersed. They ran like cockroaches when the light came on because I had my leg amputated. I guess I didn't fit their view of what a person should be. I'm not the person. I'm not a person. And that's what bothers me with what happened with this girl and this guy that she met. People are viewing him. They don't even know him. That's the part. Like this aunt saying, I hope she's not settling. You don't even know this guy. You haven't even met him yet. But because he's in a wheelchair, you hope she's not settling? Wow. Talk about being prejudiced. Talk about prejudging somebody. This person lives on their own. They live on their own. They take care of themselves. They pay their own rent. They make their own way in life. And you're worrying that she's not settling for him? That's scary. That's scary being on this side of the fence. Like for the rest of us here, that people actually think of us like that. But then again, not everybody does. And I'm blessed with my wife who still breaks my onions as if I was walking on 2 feet and not disabled. She still expects me to do everything I did before I became disabled. And if I can't do it, then I tell her, which I appreciate because I don't want to ever be treated like I'm disabled first. I want to be treated like I'm Jimmy first. I'm Jimmy. And if there's something that I can't do, then I'll let you know. And that's what I like other people. That's how I like other people to treat me too. Treat me like I'm Jimmy, and I'll let you know. But see, I also act that way with other people. When people try to, handle me with kid gloves, I tell them, no, let me do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And you have to present yourself that way as well. Okay. You can't sit back and define yourself as a disabled person. Now, what am I saying? I'm not saying go out there and hurt yourself doing things or put yourself in jeopardy, but you know yourself. You don't have to sit back and let others do everything for you. And there's people in our community, in the disabled community, that do that. And they're just as happy to sit back and let other people do for them. I'm not one of them. I like to go out and do for myself. I like to do as much for myself as I possibly can. And if it comes to something that I can't do, then I bite the bullet and I ask somebody to help me. But that's how if you present yourself as being helpless, then people are going to look at you like you're helpless. And then in a case like this, they're going to say, well, maybe someone is settling being with you. If you want to be in a relationship, if you want to be out there, you have to be as independent as you possibly can. Like I said, know your limits. I always say this. Know your limits and push up to your limits. Don't sit back. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up and sit back and say, someone else will do it for me, because that's when you lose. That's when you're done. You're not done. Always push to the limit. Push to the extreme. Like they say, no pain, no gain. All right, I'm not telling you to go out and hurt yourself. But what I am telling you is not to sit back on your ass and let others live your life for you. This is your life. If you want to live, you got to take it by the horns. You got to do what you have to do. You can't let other people say you're a liability, you're a disability. You can't let your life be defined by a disability. And you can't let others define you by your disability. The minute that they have to start doing everything for you, then they're defining you as a disability. They're defining you as a liability. Who wants to go out with someone that they have to do everything for, and God forbid they hurt you while they're doing it? No, you're more than that. Inside, you are a very strong person. Outside is just a facade. Whatever's there is there. Inside is who you are. And you have to let people know that. You have to show that. You have to show that you are a strong person. And whatever you got left on the outside, you have to use to show that you're a strong person. And don't ever, ever, ever let someone dismiss you as just a disability. That can't be. Believe me, you're much more than that. Like I said, I seen what they're doing with this girl, and the fact that she's having a hard time with it is bothering me so much. Especially the fact that she's my friend, that it's bothering her. And I'm hoping against all hope that she follows through and gives this guy a chance. The guy may turn out to be a real dick too. Who knows? But don't just give up on him because he's in a wheelchair. All right, look, let's take a quick 30-second break here. On the other side, we're going to discuss the new update from Social Security and a couple other things. So hang out. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Don't go nowhere. See you on the other side. An Apple a Day is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. FamousApple.com is the home site for this podcast. There you're going to find articles about the topics we discuss. You're going to find our connections to our Facebook page. And you're even going to find connections to our private chat board. So take a minute, go over, visit www.famousapple.com. But please wait till the end of this podcast. Don't run out on me now. Let's get back to the discussion. And we're back. Did you miss me? I know you did, you liar. Hey, do me a favor. I want to know what your opinion is. You know how I feel about it. What did you think? Do you think that dating somebody who has a disability is just settling? Let me know. Personally, I think if you just push off someone that has a disability, you may be missing out on a great relationship. But let me know your opinion on this. You can send me an email at admin@famousapple.com. That's ADMIN@famousapple.com. Or just leave a comment here on the podcast page. Either way, and let me know what you think. All right. This week's release from Social Security is Social Security when you're self-employed. Most people who pay into Social Security work for an employer. Their employer deducts Social Security taxes from their paycheck, matches that contribution, sends taxes to the Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, and reports wages to Social Security. However, self-employed people must report their earnings and pay their Social Security taxes directly to the IRS. These taxes will help determine your eligibility for benefits later on. You're self-employed if you operate a trade, business, or profession, either by yourself or as a partner. You report your earnings for Social Security purposes when you file your federal income tax return. If your net earnings are $400 or more a year, you must report your earnings on a Schedule SE in addition to the other tax forms you must file. Net earnings for Social Security are your gross earnings from your trade or business, minus your allowable business deductions and depreciation. Some income doesn't count for Social Security and shouldn't be included in figuring your net earnings. You can read more about the self-employment paying your Social Security taxes and figuring and reporting your net earnings by reading the booklet if you are self-employed. Social Security has been a cornerstone of the American security for 80 years. As a self-employed person, your small business is another cornerstone in the foundation of our economy. Working together, we can make this nation even stronger. We are here for you, securing today and tomorrow. Remember, the most convenient way to contact us anytime, anywhere is to visit our site, and that's www.ssa.gov. All right, that's this week's update from Social Security. I want to thank you guys for stopping by this week, and I want to remind you, things can always be worse. Always remember, there's always somebody striving to get where you're at right this minute. So keep that in mind, my friends. All right, thanks again for stopping by. I want you to have a great weekend. I will talk to you again next Tuesday, and I'll see you then. Be strong. Make every day count. This is Jimmy Apple.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.